Alright, this is Vinny Rodriguez, also known to you as 8-Figure Vision. I'm here to share with you today, as a part of our Infinite Insights group, the next book of the day, and that is Managing Oneself. Yes, sir, by Peter Drucker. Quick book, very quick read. You can read it in about 10 minutes. If you want to read page after page, you could read 10 minutes. And very quick read. A lot of nuggets in here though. Very interesting. This book, Managing Oneself, right? The way I sort of thought of it was, the impression I got from it was managing oneself as if it were a business, or managing oneself as if you were your own organization. What kind of tactics or techniques you would have to apply, right, to have a successful organization, right, as an individual. So really, one of the main things I wanted to share with you guys on this book of the day is, really, Peter Drucker, in this book, one of the main things that he really talks about is, it's very evaluative, right? So he says too many people work in ways that are not their ways, and that almost guarantees non-performance, right? So you kind of have to look at yourself like, you have to look at yourself like a company, right? You have to look at yourself like, am I performing to the best of my abilities? Am I performing to my standards, right? And that might lead you to the next question. What are your standards? Maybe that would be a great exercise, right? Those of you who are watching this now, write in the comments, what are your standards, right? That'd be question one. What are your standards? And question number two, the question would be, are you performing or are you non-performing, right? Non-performance, right? Because here he talks about, like, how is it that you actually perform? Well, you have to look at your strengths, right? Maybe your strength is your personality. Maybe your strength is, maybe it's a talent that you have or something of that matter, right? Are you performing to those levels? So, he says that there's 3 personality traits that usually determine how a person performs, right? And this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the book, and he talks about, are you a reader or are you a listener? Right? Are you a reader or are you a listener? I answered that I'm a reader. I'm more of the person that interprets the information, right? The listener is kind of the one who, right? The listener is kind of like on the other side, right? The listener is the one who's more kind of immersed in the situation. So are you more like kind of immersed, like you dig deep, you go grassroots into the situation, or are you someone who's more like you interpret things, right? You interpret it and then kind of like, show it out there and like tell people, right? Which one are you? Because the world needs both. The world needs the person who's a part of the experience, and then the person needs the translator. I'm more of the translator, right? So, then the next thing is, how do you learn? Right? How is it that you learn? And that's really important because, he talks about, like Winston Churchill, right? He said Churchill, he learned by writing things down, right? But some people learn by taking copious notes, right? Beethoven, right? For those of you that don't know, Beethoven was, he was deaf, and he's one of the most like phenomenal musicians ever, musician virtuosos ever, right? So the thing about him was that he, in particular, he never like really looked at his sketchbooks, but he would always write them down. Always write them down, right? So he was a natural composer. That was just the way that he relayed information. So, how do you learn, right? Do you learn by writing things down? or do you learn by, visually, or do you learn by experience, right? How is it that you learn, right? And then the last part is he says, do I work well with people or am I a loner? Right? You gotta ask yourself. Now, a lot of you are gonna take the easy road out. You're gonna say, I'm both, right? Oh, I'm a learner. I'm a loner and I work with people. Right. That's kind of like, that's the easy answer, right? But really think through, most of your time. Think about your day today. How much time did you spend, right, with people versus the amount of time that you spend alone, right? Now think about your week. How much time did you spend with people versus how much time did you spend alone? Then think about your month. How much time you spend with people? How much time you spend alone? Evaluate all that information, right? Do the math, and then you come up with the answer. Are you a loner, or are you someone who, is around people, right? You're the introvert or the extrovert, right? Because they're both important, they're both necessary, they're both a very vital part of this world, right? But it's a matter of you taking in and sort of analyzing which one are you mostly. We all got them both in us, right? Sometimes you're going to be the reader, sometimes you're going to be the listener, sometimes you're going to be the introvert, sometimes you're going to be the extrovert, right? But ultimately, when it comes down to like the real situation, when it comes down to the real deal, more times than not, what are you, right? And that is how you're gonna manage yourself, right? There's some other like really good nuggets in here in this book. It talks about the second half of your life, which was really interesting because people say, oh well, I'll only achieve, I'll hit this age, and then and then by that time I just need to make enough money just so I can get up to here, and then I'll stop, right? But then what, right? What happens when you retire? You got 20 to 40 more years, right? What are you gonna do? So he talks about, he talks about some really good things here, but I'm gonna leave that with you guys for today. Very quick read. It was recognized on the Harvard Business Review. Definitely pick it up, guys. So I will never let you down. It's all about lifting you guys up here. So again, this is Vinny here from Infinite Insights with your book of the day.